Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the YoCast. We have doubleheader action here for you tonight as Oberlin College travels to Ohio Wesleyan, and we are underway here as the Yo women are battling the Bishops of Ohio Wesleyan, and Oberlin looking for some revenge as they've lost 3 straight to OWU. So what are our keys to victory? Let's go over to Jack Povolitis to tell us what the keys to victory.
Thanks, Mike. Welcome to another night of basketball, everybody. Here are the keys to victory. This is specifically for the Yo women. First one, no, not you. Then when we're looking at the OWU women here, Casey Schieffer averages 18 points a game. Lauren Dennison averages 13. If the Yo women want to win tonight, they got to find somebody else to make them score, take the ball out of their hands. They're both deadly. They're aggressive. Lauren is a phenomenal shooter with the ball. Keep her off the arc. Just get somebody else the ball. Make somebody else step up. Key number 2, take the ball, pass the ball. OWU has a plus 8.6 turnover margin. They only turn the ball over about 12.2. They force about 20 a game. Turnovers are a pipe to the knees in a team's chance to win. You got to take care of the ball. OWU does a good job of taking it away from their opponents, so Oberlin really got to do what they can to just be smart with it. And then the third one, take the lid off. This team on the Oberlin side has struggled a bit from beyond the arc. They've slowly stepped into a bit better form from shooting. But with the way that this OWU team plays and the heights that this Oberlin squad want to get to, they got to find a way to knock that lid off and start seeing some shots go in the bucket. So I think if we follow those 3 things, it'll be a solid game for us, and I'd bet money on us. I'd take the money line for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure the Bishops probably would come in as a slight favorite here, with the history, but Oberlin definitely capable of winning this game. You talked about Schiffer. She leads the conference in scoring. This game features 2 of the top scorers in Schiffer at 17.5. And then, of course, Allison Jefferson coming in at 14.3 points per game for Oberlin. So it'll be fun to kind of watch them 2 go head to head here as the top 2 scorers in the conference.
Already saw a nice bucket there from Jefferson, kicking it off for the Yo women.
Yeah, and then an early 3-point play by Camille Zanich, someone that Oberlin's still trying to get going. And as Camille's really, fighting through some injuries and hasn't quite been herself this year after that phenomenal freshman season. So hopefully she can turn it on here for the stretch run for Oberlin.
That was a good pass. Guys, I'm not liking the lighting of this room at all. Very fluorescent. Feels a little bit like I'm playing basketball in my dad's garage. Not really a fan of it.
It's an old gym there, Jack. So, you got to do it.
Sorry, I forgot we were playing basketball under candlelit lanterns.
It is kind of has the old school feel to it. You got the on the other side, not the side we're on right now, but they have that little great day to be a bishop mantra over there. Got that old school kind of small, tight gym idea going on. So
I'm confused about it because then they got these NBA like baskets that are so futuristic, and I don't know, in my experience at least playing, like these things are kind of weird to shoot on. They're nicer, but if you're not used to shooting on rims like this, you look at all the gyms in Oberlin and most of the conference, they're racked up in the ceiling and they come down. These things just look a lot different. It's a different vibe for sure.
Not seeing a packed crowd either yet. I mean, obviously we're only getting one side of it, but you got to think that the Yo women want to take advantage of a quieter stadium tonight. Catch them off guard here on the road.
Yeah, you saw that turnover right there, and that's something that you hit on, Jack. And Oberlin gets it right back. See if they can cash in here in transition now. Allison all the way to the rim. It looks like she came up empty.
Woo! Good move.
Bishop's ball. So,
and I think a big part of that turnover margin is going to be this full court press they're running. I want to get 1 or 2 more looks at, and then I think I'll break it down for you guys, show you what OWU is looking to do here.
John, I think you should tell our dedicated fans who our keynote speaker is for tonight.
For the men's game?
For the men's game.
Yeah, we do have an exciting one. We got a lot of great guests tonight, but one that the 4 of us are particularly excited about is is brand new head football coach announced 2 days ago, Mancini?
Yeah.
2 days ago, John Pont. So, we got 4 big football guys here in this YoCast panel. So really looking forward to hearing from Coach Pont tonight. I saw he was already in the office today at our
Yeah. He's been in all week.
Max morning lift. He was burning the midnight oil last night.
There you go. Yeah, we got Alicia Smith-Tran, who graduated in 2010, current Oberlin professor in the sociology department, going to be joining us here in a little bit. Ben Corley, our assistant swim and dive coach, going to come on and talk a little bit about the upcoming North Coast Athletic Conference Championships. That'll be taking place next week down in Denison. So hopefully we have some fast swims from our Yo swimmers down in Granville. And then for the men's game, got a couple alumni in store for you, and Christian Fioretti and Matt Walker, along with Coach Pond. So it should be a fun night, fellas, and hopefully we can come away with 2 victories while we're at it.
Oh, I'm sad. I won't be here for all those interviews. Those are some legends. Those are some legends walking through the hallways right now on this Zoom. That I'm gonna miss brushing shoulders with them.
We're gonna miss you for that.
You'll be able to play it back on YouTube there, John.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Rare moment. We see this ball getting stuck. That's always.
How about the ref skying up there? That guy.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
Little show of athleticism from the
team. He's like, don't worry, I got this. He's like, I got this.
So one thing I'm wondering, and I guess this could be a question for any game, is how often do we have the men's and women's team play the same team on the road per year?
Pretty. I mean, usually a couple times a year, doubleheader season.
Rockefeller to Denison.
Coming up, and yeah, it's pretty. It's
I
pretty.
Like that. That's a the women can watch the men's team after, and then I don't know if maybe the men don't really have time to beforehand, but
they actually travel to this game separate. But usually they'll try to travel together on the bus, and then they'll obviously support one another throughout each other's games. So
I just want to make sure we're synced up here. My stream had some lagging effects. I'm on about 45 seconds. Where are you guys at?
37.
Yeah, we're around the same spot.
36. Yeah.
I can see we already have some interaction in our chat room from a dedicated fan. Yeoman Wilson's always making it out for these casts. He's talking about the new floorboards that may have been installed at OWU.
Looks like repainted at least. So some upgrades going on down there in Delaware. Is another layup there. As the Yo women down 11-5 here as we hit the first media timeout. So Oberlin jumped off to a real quick start, scored on its first couple possessions, and now it's gone cold. So see if they can settle in. You don't want this one to get out of hand too early. Kind of keep it right there, as this is obviously a game that you would expect Oberlin to come in a little energized, trying to snap that 3-game slide. So why don't we, now that we have a break, why don't we go over to Schooner and kind of get a little bit more about the history of this Oberlin Ohio Wesleyan matchup.
Yeah, you said it, Mancini. I mean, this would be a really big one for the Yo women to come out of this little skid, especially considering the current history with OWU. OWU's taken the last 3 straight against the Yo women, including one earlier this year, 75-61 loss on the Oberlin floor. So we saw 30 points from Lauren Dennison, one of OWU's top players we already talked about. So we obviously want to avoid a season sweep here, but then kind of the even bigger piece of motivation maybe for the Yo women is last year OWU actually knocked Oberlin out of the playoffs last year in the conference tournament with a 60-50 victory there, and Oberlin was outscored 20-12 in the fourth quarter of that one. So definitely want to, there's a lot of motivation here. Obviously, there's, already been one matchup between these two this year that obviously didn't go Oberlin's way, but some even bigger historical implications there for the Yo women. So Coach Dunmeyer and the team are going to be pretty fired up for this one. So as you said, we gotta come out here and really, turn this thing around, and especially in this recent history against OWU. So That's
Yeah, you
that's
saw
what
a
we
nice
got.
defensive play there by Gina to force that shot clock violation on that last possession. And then looks like Oberlin's going to give it right back on a moving screen. It looks like Coach Dunmeyer went to the bench here, guys, with a couple of young ones in there now with Angela Kumler and Lily Molowski's in there as well. A couple of freshmen and Honor Lee. So only Gina really on the floor right now with the most experience. You got Kendall McCall, who's a sophomore on the interior. So getting the starters a little breather here at the midway point of the first quarter. It's going to be up to them to try to kind of keep it right here and not let this lead expand any greater than 6.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason we're jumping into the bench as much as we are this early is we're running a lot, and this is a perfect moment. Sub coming in, talk about this full court press they're doing here. I've got a big board drawn up for everybody. Okay. This is the entire basketball court, right? All right. The red zones are where you do not want to go. If you are dribbling, this is OWU's court. This is where we're trying to go. They want to trap in these spaces. They want to get you there. They want to have you pick up your dribble, and they want to have you either turn it over or get a 5-second dead ball call. We saw it with Gina. She was about here. She passed out of it, but she almost got caught in a trap. So what they do is they don't pressure the inbounder. They run this sort of diamond +1, allowing no big passes. We see it right here, setting up this sort of diamond shape. What they want to do is they're fine if the ball comes in. Let me get a different color for you here. They're fine if the ball comes in here. That's fine. Here's fine. They want you to feel the pressure come up in these red corners. Then they collapse on you, the bite, like piranhas, and they double you. And it doesn't work every time, but that's why you see part of their turnover margin so high, because you're running full speed. You're trying to break through. You think you see somebody open, so you throw a cross-court pass. Those are difficult to make accurate from a long distance, and so turnovers, out-of-bound passes, plus they just run you ragged. And by the time you get in the half court, I mean, look at the shot clock. It's already counting down. You have less time in your possession to get a playoff. They've almost wasted 10 seconds here before the ball even gets on the three-point arc. So it's a lot. They won't run it the whole game. You saw them back off it, but 4 or 5 minute stretches, it can really pester somebody.
Yeah, and we're seeing that right now, like we talked about, right, Jack? I mean, Oberlin hasn't scored now in close to 6-7 minutes in this quarter. There's only 2:06 left, and they're stuck on 5 points. So it's obviously putting a lot of pressure on them. And we've seen a couple of misfired threes, which has been kind of an issue all year with this team, only shooting 27% from 3. And they're going to sag back and let you take that shot. I mean, that's what they want. So they don't want us to throw the ball inside to Bree and Camille and Kendall, because that's where they're going to get beat. If OWU can force us to shoot from the perimeter, they're going to have a nice night.
And that means also long rebounds, and the way their press is set up. If you take that long shot early in the shot clock before they get a defense set up, they're prime, ready to go on a fast break and run you ragged. So they don't have to be the most skilled team. They just have to be the most conditioned. And if you're planning on going in with that method as a coach, you're gonna be running. So you see it here. They're already ready to go. They have numbers.
Yeah, another misfired 3 from Allison there. So the lid is certainly on the hoop here for Oberlin in this first quarter.
A lot of early shots here in the shot clock from Oberlin. We've seen this a couple times before, but not quite getting the offense set up how they'd like. Obviously that can come into play with being, running up and down the court so much, but it seems like a little bit of lazy offense to start from the Yo women. So we know that this team gets better as time goes on, but gonna want to sharpen it up here early on.
Got to keep it a close margin. 11 points is kind of close. Big charge call there. Way to jump in and set your feet, get that charge call. But you're absolutely right, John. I mean, they just gotta knock the lid off. I mean, it's a key to victory, man. They called a body.
Yeah, say she's going to the line.
The call, the baseline ref, who I would have thought was his call to make there.
Jack, we've been working on our referee calls in the NFL. Which hand you want to go with on holding. Can you show us what your charge call or your body call it would be?
Yeah. So I'm a fan of a sharp on both the body and the charge. I'm a fan of a really sharp action. So like a charge would be, tweet, bam, like punch the player. Really And then for the body, I like some refs keep their hands here. I like a bounce. So it's like a tweet body. I like the as little hip contact as possible when you do it. I'm a flair of a basketball referee that has a little bit of a pizzazz to their calls, a little spice to it.
I'm gonna be honest, Jack. That was my favorite rendition I've seen all season.
Yeah, I mean, we all wish we could do the Joey Crawford where he's skipping out there doing the body over and over again.
That's gonna have to be a new segment because I like that one so much. You're gonna have the pulvolitis hip check or what?
Calls of the day.
Call of the day.
Yeah. Well, Camille finally stopped the bleeding there, guys, and got a layup on that last trip. See if Oberlin can cash in once or twice more here before the end of the quarters. Jefferson all the way to the rim and got fouled, so she'll get a pair here, try to chip away at this deficit. But I think Oberlin's kind of pressing right now off the start. Would you guys agree? It seemed like they're, just settle down. Like they're trying to, they break the press and they're going quick and just trying to fire up the first shot that they see instead of kind of just get over the timeline, run your offense, get a good look, throw it inside here to Angela. Just couldn't convert, unfortunately. So still get a chance for a stop and a score here before the end of this first quarter.
I mean, it feels weird. I think what they're running into is they're getting pressed, and mentally that's really taxing. They finally get into their own half, and they might, they're open on the arc, so they think I got to shoot it. Doesn't go in. You end up playing, even though OWU is playing a more difficult defense, more physically taxing, Oberlin probably has played more defense this game than OWU has, even though they've had, technically speaking, more open looks on offense and not taxing themselves as much defensively. It's got to feel really weird, and again, that's just stifling defense. Can't even get up the court. So,
yeah, so it's a really good quarter there for the Bishops. A 20-7 start in that first matchup in Oberlin. It was 19-17 in favor of OWU. So a much different story. Oberlin's going to have to try to settle in and see if they can find a way to get back to even here, heading into halftime. We're going to welcome our first guest now, fellas, into the room. Alicia Smith-Tran, former Oberlin women's basketball player and current Oberlin sociology professor. She's getting
Hi.
Hey, how are you? How's it going, Alicia?
Good. How's it going?
Oh, it's going. We're just watching the game. It's been a little bit of a rough start here. 20-7. Ohio Wesleyan just jumped on us in the first quarter. But, just talk about your experiences as a former player. You're 12 years removed now. That makes me feel kind of old.
Me too.
Year 15. So, since graduating, obviously you earned your master's at Syracuse, PhD from Case Western, and now you're back at Oberlin, teaching these wonderful student athletes. So just talk about your experiences and how everything's going for you so far in your return back to Oberlin.
Sure. So this is my second year back at Oberlin. Still hard to believe I'm back sometimes in a good way, but I never would have predicted I'd be back, but it's a cool opportunity. When I first came back, it was a little bit surreal, I guess, being in the King building where I took all my classes as a sociology major, and now I'm teaching there, but it's been awesome. And I have a lot of student athletes in my classes, and everyone's been great. It's good to be back. Yeah, what else can I talk about?
Well, let's talk about, your specialty, right, is sociology, right? And even some of what you've done and what you've studied is like the sociology and sports, and talk about how that intersection has really come to the forefront, in the last 5 to 10 years, and with, a lot of social justice through sports and different things. So talk about maybe how your two realms kind of come together and what we're seeing right now, from the academic side and maybe also from the athletic side.
Yeah, for sure. So I did my dissertation work in grad school because I'm a medical sociologist. So I was looking at recreational running, and in particular, Black women who are kind of underrepresented in distance running, like 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons and all that type of stuff. So thinking about how people have access or don't have access to these types of activities, But then also kind of touching on the, I guess, social justice piece or inclusion piece, how people can use running and how Black women would kind of come together in these running groups for Black women and kind of be visible in the community and, say we're here too and we have a place in the sport. So certainly it's a really interesting time to study sociology of sport, and athletes have such a platform for speaking out on social justice issues. And there will be more and more research coming out, I'm sure, and hopefully I can teach a class at some point on sociology of sport. That would be fun to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're sitting here today. It's the first day of Black History Month. You kind of talked about, the Black women in sports. So just kind of talk about the importance of Black History Month and, what that means to you. Why is it important to celebrate it and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it should be longer than a month, but I guess we'll take what we can get for now. But, the opportunity to center Black history and Black voices and experiences and all of the contributions that Black folks have made to American society, like I said, could go on longer than a month. But, it's a great opportunity to kind of talk about these things and bring more social issues to the forefront. So it's certainly an important time and glad we can talk about it.
Professor,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think I will interject with a question here. My name is
Sure.
Max Anastasio. You can't see me on screen. I don't know if you answered this already, but how familiar are you with basketball as a sport?
I played it.
Okay,
at
so
Oberlin.
Oberlin's now down 15 in the second quarter of this game. Would you have any recommendations as a previous athlete, coming back from that kind of deficit?
Sure. What recommendations do I have? We didn't make a lot of comebacks in my my day, as Mike can attest to. But it's still early in the game. There's still time, right? So granted, I haven't been watching, but I would imagine kind of buckling down on defense and having a good strategy going forward in terms of offense and taking your time sometimes is good. Maybe pushing it is too. I don't know. I haven't been watching, but I have faith in the Yo. I think they can come back.
So talk about some of your favorite memories as a player, Alicia. Obviously, I know you try to make it back for at least one or two games a year. With your teammates that we see, Alyssa, Cyria, and
Yeah.
some of the girls that you played with. But and then talk about what's your favorite memory. I'm sure it's probably more of the relationships that you still have than maybe what happened then on the court. But why don't you share some stories?
Yeah, for sure. Oh gosh. I mean, we all stay in touch. We've all been to like all of each other's weddings and everything. And I talk to some of my teammates every day still, or some of my closest friends. So, we had a lot of fun off the court, and traveling to different games and tournaments was always great. I mean, I think a personal memory for me that was fun was traveling to Michigan and playing at Hope College because I'm from Michigan. So my grandparents got to come and my, aunts and uncles and cousins. And then I had a really good game. So that's always fun when you can, do well in front of your family. But I remember specifically too, we had a home game when Earlham College was in the NCAC still, and Earlham was like one of the games that we always knew like we had a really good chance of winning. But it was a full, the stands are full. There are so many of our friends there, and we just showed out. I don't know. We decided to show up that game, and it was awesome. So, I mean, there's definitely good memories of playing, but I think all the off the court, like hanging out and spending so much time together over winter term and um, all that type of stuff, I think is the off the court memories are my favorite for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Why don't you touch on what have you seen maybe as like the biggest difference in terms of, being an athlete at Oberlin compared to when you were an athlete from, 10 years ago to where it is today and, and just kind of the whole experience on campus.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like unfortunately when I was a student athlete, so starting in 2006, it just wasn't as um, supported, I guess, by all students. That's kind of my perception, or taken as seriously. And I think just even the facilities being, it's like night and day compared to when I was a student, um, and more respected, I think, by the campus community. And the fact that these teams are winning so many games now, right? Which is not to say that we never won when I was there. But kind of the culture, I think, surrounding sports has improved a lot, which is really exciting to see. And since I was working at the gym, working with Natalie and you, and now Natalie's, leading the athletic department, which is awesome to see everything she's done. So yeah, it's come a long way. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Professor, have you considered a career in coaching since you've hung up the sneakers?
Oh, that's funny. No, not at all. I love playing. I don't know if I'd be a very good coach. No, I think I'll stick with the classroom and I'll come and cheer. But no, I don't think I'd be very good.
It doesn't pay as well either, so you're okay.
I did coach a fourth grade team once, and we did not win one game. So if that's any indication of how good I would be.
What
I have a quick
kind
question.
of player
Sorry,
were
go
you?
ahead, Jack.
Were you a guard? Were you a forward? Dribble first, look to score, pass? Like what was your attributes?
Sure. I was a guard. I was usually shooting guard. Shot 3-pointers. I didn't turn it over that much. So I kind of just considered myself like solid and good shooter, decent defender. I don't know, Mike saw me play, if you remember.
Yeah, you that's exactly what. Just get the offense in flow, get the ball to the right people, let them do their job, and play lockdown defense, hit a big jumper when you needed to. Yeah, you pretty much hit
Yeah.
it on the head.
Yeah, I think I was solid. I wasn't like an all-star, but I had some good games, had some okay games, and yeah, nice little career.
Nice. Would you have a question, John? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question. What I don't know to what extent you might have an answer to this, but are there any things that you kind of found in your playing career or is your experience playing sports that have helped you, and now in a career as a professor? Are there any kind of lessons that you learned that kind of inform the way that you are in the classroom or kind of anything else you do now?
Oh, that's a great question. I think being an athlete, you are pushed to your limits in a lot of ways, in practice or training or just being competitive and wanting to be the best at what you're doing, that I found like in grad school or when I was applying for jobs, or just, trying to stay on top of my game as a teacher and a researcher, that sometimes my competitiveness and kind of like, okay, I'm really exhausted, but like I've done really hard things before. That sometimes that those experiences as an athlete have certainly helped. And even though I'm not, a competitive athlete, I feel like it stays with you, a little bit to a certain extent, even if it's now just, working out or whatever. But yeah.
Well, Alicia, since you've come on, the thing you have not been a good luck charm, unfortunately.
Oh no.
The score has widened. It's now 36-17. Ohio
Okay.
Wesleyan. And Ohio Wesleyan is just a tough matchup for us right now. The way that, was that maybe there was like one team that you played that you always felt like we just couldn't,
Oh God.
get over. Like, who was that team for us during your playing day that you thought like this isn't going to work out tonight?
As you were talking, I mean, this is much worse than what's going on right now, but
Uh,
it's embarrassing to even say this, but we played Baldwin Wallace, and we were
they
at
always,
Baldwin Wallace. Baldwin Wallace is still really good, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
they
yeah.
had like
That's
5 in, 5 out. It was like a military regime. Like everyone was amazing, and I think we lost like 100-30 or something. Like it was horrific. It was like, can we just leave at halftime?
yeah,
So yeah, I think it was more so like which teams we knew like we had a good chance against. Like it was Earlham, it was Hiram, it was
yeah.
gosh, I'm blanking on Worcester. And I'm sure, it's kind of changed to an extent now. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a bad one.
No, I hear you. I hear you. So, what is your class schedule look like for the rest of the week? What days do you teach?
I teach Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I teach intro from 9 to 9:50. A class called autoethnography in the life course, 11 to 11:50, and then medical sociology from 1:30 to 2:20. So I have a
So
busy
tomorrow an
Monday,
off
Wednesday,
day?
Friday. Tomorrow, I guess, yeah, tomorrow I'm home with my daughter who's 1.5, and I'll be prepping lectures for
Nice.
Friday. So yeah.
Nice. Well, good for you.
Alternatively, I'll probably be hooping in the pickup gym at some point if you want to come through.
I'll start training for that, and
Yeah.
we'll
That's you
see.
for that.
Professor,
Yeah.
one more before you leave. We'll give you with a departing trivia question. So
Uh-oh.
back in 2007, 2008, can you guess your own field goal percentage that year?
Ooh, that's a good question.
2007, 2008. I think that was one of my better seasons. That's probably my best of my 3 that I played. My field goal percentage, 20%.
20%. You'd be surprised to know that you were actually about 34% that year.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. I'll take it.
Pretty solid.
We'll take it. We'll take it. Well, we'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your husband and your beautiful child over there at home, and enjoy your day off tomorrow. Thanks for hopping on with us for a little bit.
All
Alicia,
right, thanks for
have a
having
good
me.
rest of the week. Okay, take
Nice
care.
meeting you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
All righty, guys. So back to the action here now. 38-17. The Bishops have kind of blown this one open, and not the way we were hoping this one to go for us so far, but we'll see if we keep firing away. There is another missed 3 by Lily, and OWU's in complete control, fellas, and we're going to have to make some halftime adjustments. We know that Coach Dunmeyer has kind of done that all year. We've touched on that on a couple other Yocasts, but going to have a tall task ahead here on this one. What do you say?
I mean, you said it, Vince. It really does look to me as if OWU is just a tough matchup for the Yo women. It's, we've seen them comfortable with tough opponents before, but as Jack talked about earlier, just this up and down nature, and obviously, the Yo women still dealing with a couple injuries. It just seems like a really tough matchup. Not to say that Coach Dunmeyer can't find an adjustment at halftime to get us going, but I don't know what the rest of you guys think, but it does seem like just one of the tougher matchups from what we've seen for all of this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mean, dude, they just are fast. They're just a blistering pace. You saw it here on this last possession before a timeout. Oberlin made shot. OWU take the ball out quick off the baseline in. Oberlin only have 2 defenders back, and OWU didn't go for anything too quick, but it's that nature. I mean, every time they get the ball, they're driving. They're taxing a defender every time they touch the ball. Oberlin just feel tired. They feel like they're running in quicksand because they don't ever get a time to catch a break. Your defense is not the time for you to get rest. Defense, you should be playing hard, but then the way they have to enter their offense set with facing a full court press for 75% of this first half, they don't get to do it where they can catch a breather. They got to run into it, which just is physically just taxing. And that's, I think, part of the reason why they're shooting so poorly right now is because these shots they're used to getting in rhythm feel rushed. They're out of breath. They can't stay focused. They feel like they got to get it off quick. And I know it's blistering defense from OWU. It's really something to see.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio Wesleyan coming in averaging 66 points a game, guys. That's second in the conference, but I mean, obviously well ahead of that pace right now with already 40 here in this first half with still about 90 seconds to go. So really going to have to find a way to get some stops if we're going to work our way back into this one and find a way to start making some shots as Jefferson comes up empty once again.
Not sure how long ago this was commented, but Yeoman Wilson's calling OWU, I assume he's referring to OWU as the bogey team. He's also complaining that we need to get in the lane.
Yeah. We can get it inside.
What I think they've done now is I think they've gone to a 2-3, which is even more to the point of getting in the lane, but it's going to be harder off the dribble drive to do that. So this looks like this might be person defense. No, it's hard to tell, but it looks like it might be a 2-3. They're doing everything they can to keep Oberlin from forcing Oberlin to just take perimeter shots. And look at this pace again. Got numbers 4 on 3.
Yeah, they get it and go, Jack. And they're definitely going to get some points in transition. Had a little settled there, but still got to the rim fairly easy as Oberlin was trying to find their person that they were guarding here on the defensive end and led to an easy layup. So more than doubling up Oberlin now at 42-19.
We love to say it here on the YoCast, but Oberlin has been a third quarter team this year, but we're gonna need a pretty historic one to get back in this one. We're looking at probably a 20-point plus deficit going into the half. With really one possession left here for OWU.
Yeah, I mean, Oberlin's still okay, probably for a potential, home playoff game. They sit at fourth in the conference right now coming in today. They were a game back behind Ohio Wesleyan. They're 6-2, Oberlin 5-3. Denison trails Oberlin in that fifth spot at 3-5 coming into tonight in the conference. So, and still a couple, obviously some favorable matchups coming ahead for the women's basketball team as well. We still have a game against Worcester on Saturday, which should be a win. You got Hiram, you have Kenyon left. So a couple of opportunities to move up, but still also have DePaul left on that schedule as well. But this is the time where you got to start hitting February and you want to be playing your best basketball. And, last year, this team that goes 21-4 and then kind of torn down the stretch is like things kind of got a little haywire for the Yo women. And then it didn't click in that tournament game against Ohio Wesleyan in the semifinal. And, you kind of came into the, a couple weeks back and you were like, man, this team has a chance to win the conference. And we're not really quite seeing that right now. You want to be playing your best going into the final stretch, and it's just not clicking yet, but still a little bit of time, but we got to get it going in a hurry.
Yeah, talking about last year, you'd hope that year would have given us, the experience. So it's definitely not out of bounds to think that, this team can come through and hit their stride at the right time, with still a fair number of conference games left to go. But as you said, Mancini, it's gotta start soon.
Yeah, that's going to wrap it up here for the first half, guys. 44-19, a big OWU barrage there for that first 20 minutes of play. So Oberlin's going to head to the locker room and try to regroup. And, I wish I could say we could give you some updated numbers, but it looks like the live stats are frozen. I don't know if you guys are
I
seeing
was looking at that. They haven't updated them since the first quarter.
Yeah, it's like so hopefully they can maybe get that updated for us at halftime. We could take a break, come back and take a deeper dive into some of these numbers. And on the other side of that, we mentioned that assistant swim dive coach Ben Corley will be joining us to talk a little bit about the NCAC championships, but not the quarter we were hoping for. So we'll take a breather alongside with the Yeomen and then come back and get you going for the second half here on the YoCast. How's that sound, fellas?
Perfect.